Welcome to another Tech Direction training session. This time, we're diving into camera techniques. I'm Dan Nagel, founder and CEO of Tech Direction, and today's session is proudly hosted at Word of His Power Church in London, Ontario. Are you passionate about videography and camera operation for live productions? Whether you're a camera operator, a technical director, or simply curious about the art of camera operating, this session is for you. Join us for an exclusive session featuring a very special guest, Gio Benavidez. Gio is a professional videographer and content producer for a major corporate media company known for his passion to create compelling content that tells captivating stories. He has extensive experience working with cameras in various settings, from churches to major brands like Nissan and Porsche. In today's session, Gio will cover essential camera movements, angles, and shots. You'll learn about handheld techniques, tripods, monopods, sliders, and gimbals. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced camera operator, this training will provide valuable insights into creating dynamic and engaging visuals. For more information, resources, or to get in touch with our team, visit our website at techdirection.com or find us on social media. If you have specific projects you need help with, email us at projects@techdirection.com. Now let's dive in.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thanks for having me here. It's always a pleasure working and being with you guys here. Every time I get a call from Dan or Rebecca, it's always a fun time to, be here. I also volunteer at my church, so it's nice to also see kind of going to other churches and learn about how they do stuff, and also at the end of the day be able to help around and support you guys as much as I can. But yeah, thanks Dan and team at Tech Direction team for having me here. And yeah, thanks for again having me here. I always wanted to give credit also for to God for where I am now, because I started all of my my passion for video and all that stuff through volunteering at my church. I didn't know what to do for school, and then I was volunteering at my church for media, and then I thought, hey, maybe I should try something related to media. It wasn't, the norm. It was social media wasn't that big then, but I kind of stepped into that and just thought, hey, if I could use kind of my passion and the skills that I learned back into the church, it would be really nice. So, a little bit about me, I guess. I'm Gio, even for those online if you're not here. I'm a video producer by trade, so that's kind of my full-time job. I work for a company here in London, actually. And yeah, I basically make video. I'm part of the marketing team, but all of my experience have been all over the place in terms of freelance, but basically whatever you want to call it: videographer, content creator, video producer, camera operator. A lot of it involves working with cameras. So I guess that's why I'm here, and Dan trusted me enough to, you guys could trust a thing or two that I'll say and teach you guys. But yeah, that's what I do for a living, and I work with cameras a lot. So I've also had the amazing opportunity to work for different organizations, of course, different churches, different brands. I've even worked bigger companies. I've recently, last year, I worked with a project with Nissan Canada. Actually, that was pretty cool. It was a partnership with a YouTube content creator. I worked with Porsche Canada. That was pretty cool. If we have some time today, I'm going to show that. That's kind of part of what we're going to talk about. I've done live TV. I've kind of dabbled into film production. You name it, anything that videographers have done, I've kind of tried it just to see how it is. I've done weddings, real estate. If you meet someone that does video, those are the things that they're in. So I've kind of had a little bit of experience in all of those. But yeah, so today we're going to basically be going through camera movements, camera angles and shots, different techniques. So I have here like handheld techniques, shoulder rigs. We'll kind of go through it like briefly, some of the stuff, like techniques with like a tripod or a monopod we have here, sliders, gimbals, and if we have some time, we'll go through kind of like an advanced bigger production kind of setup. I mean, we obviously don't have any, but we can kind of just like chat about it based on like what I know and what I've experienced working with. So let's get started. I mean, I don't know what you guys have experienced. I know a lot of you guys are volunteers here. You run the cameras, you do camera operating, but it's nice to go back into the actual basics of like camera movements. And just like, I know for us, if we're always like operating a camera, it's like, okay, you like turn it left and right, up and down, zoom in, like it's kind of basic already. Like, but it's nice to kind of go back into the actual, I don't know, like basic and like fundamentals of like what it is and like the technical terms for it, like how it's used, why it's used, basically. So we'll kind of start with pan and tilt. Do you guys know what pan and tilt is? I mean, yeah. So pan is the horizontal movement, so left and right, and then the tilt is vertical movement. So we'll go through kind of like a demo later on, but we'll kind of just go through this. Like I'll kind of talk through it. So let's start with pan. So that's the horizontal movement of left and right, and that's like if the camera is just sitting in one position, and we'll kind of go through like the more advanced one where the camera moves more than just like in one position. So horizontal movement, you could use this to like reveal something. So of course, like in a church setting, it could be like you're showing something on the left and then you turn to the right. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. For like film, it could be like in TV shows, it could be like person to person. You could use this like as an effect. People do this for like a comedic effect. So like sometimes someone's talking and then it like whips to like a person and then it's like, oh, that's like the punchline. Another example for like broadcasting, for sports broadcasting, is basically when they move back and forth. Like there's lots of panning for sports broadcasting, like hockey, basketball, I mean, football. It's really a lot of pans, right? So that's kind of like the main movements, I guess, or main uses for it that we see kind of like our day to day. So if Dan asks you to pan, it's left and right. So that's a big part of it. And then let's move on to tilt. So that's a vertical movement. So that's tilting up and down. And this could be used to reveal something grand. So I don't know if you guys have like any like if you dabble into like film, but usually an angle shooting up makes someone bigger, right? So a tilt up could reveal something grand. So like let's say I don't know, a good example, maybe like you're like in a canyon, like let's say the Grand Canyon. You tilt up from kind of just like near you, and then you tilt up, revealing the whole canyon, and that's like, oh, it's like a big reveal. It's something grand. You could also use this as an establishing shot for like movies. The same thing where it's like you see the sky and then it tilts down to like a building or like a house, right? So yeah, it's basically like looking up at something, looking down at something. In terms of broadcast, or even like for church, for like a church setting setup, it could be your way to adjust headroom. So like if you're following someone, I mean, if we use that example from where I am, like from this camera, so like you would tilt up and down, of course, to like adjust this headroom. You know, you don't want to be like too close. You don't want to be like too far like this. So yeah, just if someone says like tilt up and down, usually Dan or like any like technical director, if they kind of call that to be like, oh, just tilt up or down, that's kind of what you do. And then the next thing, we'll kind of get a little more advanced, kind of film in some regards, is the dolly shot. So if you guys are familiar with that, so that's basically moving the camera forward and backward. So that's like a dolly shot. So you go, and that's like literally moving like up and then moving backwards. So this could be used, again, we're going to talk about it later. It could be, usually a dolly would be on a track. And, you know, people are sitting and then someone pushes them and then push them back. And then they, you know, they say cut and then they like push you. Yeah, kind of thing. So it's on a moving vehicle or something moving. You could also use a gimbal for this. We're going to talk about that later. And you could use a dolly shot for like when you're following someone from behind. So let's say they're walking and then you're following them, or at the same time or in the same way. If someone was walking towards the camera and then that you would dolly back, right? So you could use that. You could achieve this, or you could do, this is basically like a physical zoom in. So of course you have like a zoom in lens and you can zoom in, but this is more the actual camera moving into the subject and moving out. It creates kind of like a dramatic zoom. Like it's different from zoom in because of course like it just goes into the subject, but this one, like everything kind of collapses into the subject, right? Again, you can also use this for an establishing shot. We'll have some examples later for it. And then for in the church setting, a dolly shot could be really cool for like showing the congregation. So like, let's say from the back to the stage. So like, let's say there was a camera on a dolly, let's just say, from the back of the stage or the back of the auditorium. And then it goes through the walkway here and then zoom, like kind of physically zooms in to the stage. So that's kind of like what you would use it for. So that is dolly. And then now we'll go into truck. This is this movement of side to side. So in the same way, it could still be on a dolly, but you're trucking sideways. So trucking left and right. So instead of like panning, you're actually moving left and right. You could use this on a track. You could use it on a slider. We don't have a slider here, but basically the camera moving side by side to side. You could achieve this also with a gimbal. Again, we'll talk about it later. You could also use this as an establishing shot. So let's say you have something in the foreground and then your subject and then the background. You could kind of use that foreground to like cover it and then kind of slowly reveal that subject, right? This would be really cool. I've seen it in churches, obviously like bigger production churches where they would have like a dolly that would go around the stage. So I guess you could say that's like a trucking movement where they would move the camera from here, looping all around the stage. So it would kind of go like this way, and then that would be like your path of camera movement. In terms of another example for like a church, it could be cool to use this for like a behind the crowd shot. I know I've used this for like when I'm on a gimbal, I would be in the back of the sanctuary, and then I would go walk sideways, like over people. You could see the stage, but then you could really see kind of like people worshiping, but at the same time seeing the stage at the same time. So that's one example of using that. So that's so far we've covered pan, tilt, dolly, and trucking. And now we're going to move on to what they call the pedestal. So this movement is moving a camera up or down from a vertical axis. So it's literally moving camera up and down, right? So we're moving the camera more, not just kind of stationary up and down. This is actually moving it up and down. So it's almost like an advanced tilt, because of course, like tilting up and down, and then it's a good way to, it would be really cool to combine tilt and pedestal, because as you move up, you can also move up, or you can also tilt the camera the same way. You could move the camera down and then also tilting it down, right? So you could use this to frame a tall subject. So if, let's say, you wanted to show, or actually like here, if we wanted to show like a reveal of the stage or someone singing, it would be like starting from here, going up like that. Nowadays, I would imagine a lot of these shots for like, I'm thinking like video production or like films or TV shows, a lot of pedestal movement are created using a drone, just because like it flies up so easily up and down. So that's like a really easy way to achieve it. And yeah, you could also use a tripod and a monopod for this. I mean, it's a little harder for a tripod. You'd have to like literally let everything loose and then kind of like have it from the shortest setting or shortest height and literally just pull it. But it would be really hard and you have to be really fluid to make it smooth. It would make sense also to do it like with a monopod. I guess it would be easier because it's literally kind of like a, just like kind of like a movement like that. I don't know if people can see that from a home. Yep, something like that, where it's just kind of going down. I mean, again, it's also not as fluid, but it could be done if that's something you're trying to achieve. I've also seen this movement used by mounting a slider. I don't know if you guys are familiar with sliders. We'll talk about it later, but it's basically a dolly. So it's a track, and then it just slides the camera sideways, or you could turn it the other way and it could go forwards and backwards, but you could turn it this way. And then again, you could also just slide it. It's mostly going to be like the motion will still come from like your arms because you're still moving it up and down. It's just that it won't kind of go backwards because it's on that track, right? So that's also another way of getting it. You could use this for revealing the stage from behind the crowd with the tilt. So again, going back to a shot from behind the auditorium, you could do, a pedestal of like the crowd and then moving it up, showing the stage and whatever's happening.
I can sort of show what you're talking about over here at least.
Dan could show that.
If somebody's standing in front of it, we're live on this camera, that somebody's worshiping here, and you kind of see them blocking it, and then as you're going up, you're revealing.
Yes, exactly.
Without moving the camera itself, but yeah.
Exactly. So that's like a really good example of using a foreground. I know I mentioned it quickly of like, you see a foreground, it's kind of like something blurry. You don't necessarily need to know what it is, but it's almost like you're covering something and then the camera reveals over that subject or whatever that foreground is. Okay, so those are pretty good, most of the movements. There's one more it is a movement, but this one isn't necessarily on like your tripod or anything, but it's a zoom movement, right? So this is achieved with a zoom lens. I mean, I have the zoom lens here, but also in those cameras, zooming in and out. A lot of zooms can be added in post-production now. A lot of times, sometimes I would just, if I'm recording something and I know I'm going to zoom in, I just leave the camera as is and then I edit it to kind of zoom in. It's just easier. And like, if you don't have anything to like kind of help you move, that's just like an easy way to do it.
As long as you have the resolution.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing. You'd have to like shoot at 4K, but I mean, for the most part, as long as you're not like cropping all the way in, it's pretty good. And then in terms of zooms, you could do like slow zooms. Like as a shot, what we could do, like if the camera, let's say, was at the back, a slow zoom from like, again, congregation, zooming into the to the stage, or zooming in or zooming out at the same time. You can do that. And then other uses for it would be like fast, quick zooms. I mean, it's probably not the best for like cameras on a tripod, but for some bigger churches and like bigger productions, what they would do is they would have like handheld camera operators, and they would do like let's say like during a fast song, someone is playing or they're on the drums, and then they would like whip kind of pan into, I don't know, the keys or like the guitar guy or like the bassist that's like really close to the drums. So that's something like what you could do. And also like, so zooming in and out, you could kind of play around with that as well. And then the next thing we have here is, that is camera movement. So we covered pan, tilt, dolly, tracking, pedestal, and then zoom. And then the next thing we have is camera angles or shots. So this is kind of more of like framing. So if you're trying to direct someone, like camera operators, like this is really important. So you guys kind of have a good gauge of like what you want to see in your frame, right? So we're going to go through extreme wide, extreme wide shot, medium close up, and extreme close up. For some of these, it's like, it kind of depends. Like if you say like your medium shot is like belly or like waist up, sometimes it's like stomach up. Like it just kind of depends on like your production. But for the most part, it's like pretty much the same everywhere else. So we'll start with extreme wide. So of course, this is like something where you would show a bigger area. It would be an extreme wide would be like the whole stage, or even like you could see kind of like the front of the altar from like the back. That's what would an extreme wide shot would be. You would use this to show how grand something is, and this also could make a small space look a lot bigger, right? Like if you think of like real estate videos or even real estate photos, sometimes you think that like something is really big. Yeah. And then you go into the house or wherever, and then you see like it's tiny, but it's because they have an extreme wide lens that makes something look really big. And yeah, so in the church setting or broadcast, this would be a really good shot to show, again, yeah, like the altar or like something really big, like the whole auditorium even, right?
Yeah. So just to interrupt you here, what you guys will have here, this is one of the camera positions that Word of His Power has on a tripod, but we've put a different camera on here than what they just got new, just to show different camera types. But you guys will have it's a 12 times zoom, 70 degree field of view camera here. So a wide shot that you can do a nice, not quite extreme wide, but it's a nice wide shot of the whole stage. And if the pastor's on the platform there, it'll catch him and the whole stage.
Oh, nice. So that's pretty wide.
Yeah, it's super wide. So whereas the other ones are a 60 degree field of view, intended for more of those farther away shots and to get tight in on people.
Yeah, so this lens, I think this is a 24. Do you know the widest one here, Dan?
Yeah, I'm not sure, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's 24. I think it's a 24. So, I mean, we could get into like the technicalities of kind of like distance of lenses, but yeah, that's like, I would consider that like what Dan just described from the pastor being in the front here and then seeing the whole stage. I would say like that's a wide shot, not necessarily an extreme wide. An extreme wide would be like
100
the whole,
like
or something, literally from this side all the way to the back. So that's kind of like the difference of like extreme wide or wide. But for the most part, in terms of like what you guys use and like your setup, a wide would just be as wide as you can. Like usually if Dan says like, hey, can you get like a wide shot? It doesn't like, it's just as much as you can basically. So yeah, you could use the wide shot for establishing shot for videos, and then for broadcast, it would be the whole stage. And then a medium shot, this one is kind of like, I've worked with different people that would be like, okay, medium shot again is like shoulders, sometimes like chest up, stomach up, waist up. And you could even say that's like a medium wide. But for the most part, I would use medium wides for like talking heads for like an interview. That's kind of like, that's a medium shot where you can see, let's just say for today, let's say waist. I don't know, Dan, like what would you say a medium shot is?
We usually think of it as if the person puts their arms out, you're going to catch them, but it's waist up otherwise. Yeah.
So waist up for Dan.
And just to be clear too, it's not me directing here. So it's the guys here actually take turns on directing.
Right.
So they're all everyone has a little bit of a different style, but they do have a good kind of standardized shot that they call their medium.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for the most part too, like if you just need something to be like zoomed in a little bit, you know, you just kind of call that shot to be like, yeah, can we just zoom in a little bit or like zoom out a little bit? But yeah, and then the next thing we have also is a medium close up. So again, it's pretty close. This is like the difference between a wide and an extreme wide. Or no, a wide and a medium. So it's kind of like the middle. So now we're talking the middle of medium and close up. So medium close up. So this is more talking head. So I'm thinking if Dan is saying this is medium close up would kind of be, I would imagine, yeah, like chest up, right? So yeah, for interviews, like for the stuff that I work on, that's usually my go-to. And then having a second camera that would be considered like a close-up. So like for more dramatic effect or like a more zoomed in effect where it would be, so now from our chest up, it would kind of be like almost like their whole face, basically, right? And you can see this in like interviews when they like zoom into like their hands or like, you know, they're talking and it's like a zoom in of their hands. And then the last shot I have here is extreme close-up. I mean, I don't think we need to use that here, but just for the sake of going through main camera angles and shots, extreme close-up would be used for like detail shots. So my example with this, the best example I could use for this is like when I shoot weddings, there's what we call like detail shots. So it would be like a close-up of like the rings or like the close-up of the flowers. You know, like the decorations, they love to see that. Like clients love to see those. So that's what you would use it for. So it's like really close, tight shots. I mean, if we had like camera ops like on stage, like as an example, we could probably get away with using an extreme close-up of like, I don't know, a foreground of the mic really close, and then it would like change the focus into like what's in the background. So I guess you could kind of say that that's an extreme close-up.
We actually use here. We've installed a drum mic.
Nice,
that's an extreme close-up of basically toms and a little bit of cymbals. So
exactly.
As they do a roll, we can do a tight shot of that.
Exactly.
But we sometimes do extreme close-ups of keys. Mm-hmm. And I know in the past when you guys have done kids church and that kind of thing, if there's a kid doing a solo, something like that, and they're playing an interesting instrument like a flute or something, you might do a tight shot of that. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, but for the most part, like close up is just, I guess for like this setting, like a church setting for like broadcast, it would just be considered like a tight shot. Like, can we go in like a little tighter? That would focus exactly on like a specific subject. But yeah, there's like so many of this different angles and shots, and we could get like really technical with it. And again, I've mentioned like I've worked with a lot of different people, and their like perspective and view of these shots are like different. So you kind of have to obviously just adjust. But for the most part, it's pretty easy for this. It's usually what we get a wide, we get a medium shot, and then a close-up shot is what we work with. Okay, so let's move on to some more demos. I guess we could show some of this with actual cameras.
Yep.
This one I don't have. I'm just going to show you guys kind of like how I would hold it because it's handheld. So you won't really necessarily see like, I won't even have
what the shot looks like. Yeah.
yeah. I'll just show you kind of like what it looks like. So for Handheld Techniques, basically the camera movements that we've talked about and even the angles, like you could achieve it with a handheld because you have all of the freedom to basically do whatever you want. Now, the most important part of this is that it won't be stable because obviously you're just holding your hands. For a person that does a lot of camera op, I have the shakiest hands in the world. Like it's crazy that like sometimes I'd be like, I don't want to set up a lot of stuff, so I'm just gonna go handheld. And then I just like shoot and I'm like, oh yeah, it looks great on the small screen. I go back into my recordings after and it's like shaky. And I was like, I can't believe that I have the shakiest hands. So that's why I use a lot of tools that I have to obviously make it stable. But also in terms of like editing, there's lots of editing software now that have really good like stabilization options. So as long as you keep it like pretty still, there'll be like some shakes, but they could usually remove it for the most part. And that's kind of been my best friend for the last few years. So yeah, so it won't be as stable when you use handheld, of course, unless you might consciously decide that you want to have a handheld feel in your video or even like in live broadcasts as like a stylistic choice. So like a lot of churches now, when they have camera ops on stage, it's usually handheld, but it's like quick cuts anyway. So it'll be like, okay, show the drums for like 2 seconds and then it cuts, but it's like not like a tripod shot. Like you could tell that it's like moving. In terms of techniques to keep it stable, you can always try to like keep it as close to your body as like more points of contact. So of course, like you have your feet kind of like settled in like this, and then you like if you go like this, likely there's going to be a lot of wobble and shake. But if you kind of keep your elbows close to your body here, and then also kind of like have your chest or the camera on your chest sometimes, that like helps out a lot. And if you just need something stable, you could just hold your breath for like, I don't know, 5-10 seconds and get the shot right. But yeah, that's like a good way to just kind of like, if you want like very slight movements and you're not like shaking like this, you could do that. There's a little cool trick that a lot of like people teach for like beginner stuff is using neck straps. I mean, a lot of cameras now come with neck straps, but another way to stabilize it is if you have it here is if you actually like use the neck strap as like a stabilization point, because if you're pushing it, there's tension there and it won't be like as loose. So you could use that to kind of like move things around. So if you were to get like a shot here, I would just kind of like hold it and then move my legs kind of thing. And then if you just want it to be as stable as you can, again, you could just hold it. And because of that tension from your neck and the strap to your hand pushing the camera, it'll help kind of stabilize that some more. Another thing for handheld that I've kind of learned in the last, I'd say 3 years, is that you would purposely make your camera heavier. Just because if you're using just, let's say, a DSLR like this and you're just holding it, of course you're gonna have shake. Like it's pretty light. Like I could just handheld it, that you can move it around. But if you purposely make it heavier, like what I've done here with one of my rig, usually I would have a monitor here too. Sometimes I can have a matte box here. It like just makes it heavier, so obviously it's not going to move as much. So usually I even kind of customize this, if you guys can see. Like I have this battery pack in the back, and I kind of just have it against me, exactly like kind of what I use there. It's heavier, so it's not going to move as much already. And then I kind of just have it moving very slightly. Later, I'll show you guys the Porsche project that I actually worked on, if we have some time. And I use this rig, and you can see that a lot of the movements are handheld. I didn't use any tripods. Like I literally just started walking. I even like went like this, where a lot of it was handheld for the most part. So kind of have a look at that. And of course, you could use like tools to make it easier. We'll leave it to the younger guys to hold a 10, 15 pound camera all day while they're shooting. But if you've seen like in other churches, like bigger production churches, they would have something similar like this, like a bigger rig. And then they would actually have, it's called an easy rig, I believe, where it's basically a backpack. And then there's like a pole sticking out. And then it's like, there's this string that holds it. And basically it just takes off the weight off your hand. So if you let go of the camera, it'll just be hanging. So I guess the weight instead of having it all on your arms, because after a while you get tired, it's more on your shoulder and your back, which you'll likely last longer. I mean, it'll probably be a lot tiring still, but less tiring, I guess. So you could use that. Another way to stabilize a camera is a shoulder rig. I actually have this and I've never used it, but I've used it. I've used a shoulder rig for when I've done live broadcasts for like a hockey game, and then they would kind of put you in like the corner side near the goalie, actually by the goal line, and then you kind of just have it and follow the action from there. But something you could use is a shoulder rig is another way to stabilize. So there's more point of contact. You're using your shoulder. You're not like fully holding it like this and all of the weight is on your arms. Now, like there's that third option and it's kind of like on your shoulder. It's a little bit better. For shorter guys like me, shorter folks or girls, this can be used to get the camera to eye level height. So like a lot of the times I've actually found myself like filming from like a lower angle because I'm already shorter. So then it looks kind of like a lot shorter for most people because I'm already shorter. So like if someone's taller than me, I'm filming them. It actually is pointing up, right? So for me, it would help to have like a shoulder rig to kind of like even it out, because if I'm shooting something, I'm not gonna go up, like let's say to Dan. Dan's a good example for like if I was to shoot Dan. Like let's say I'm following Dan for like a documentary and he's talking. Like usually, like for me, a regular or like a comfortable position would be here. But the issue here is it's that I'm shooting up. But what we usually want is kind of like have it even. But if I have a camera like this, I'm not going to be like recording Dan like this the whole time. Like that's tiring. So a shoulder rig would come in handy. So it's not the lowest of angle, but at least I could kind of like put it a little higher rather than being here, right? So yeah, just to keep it neutral, that's what I would use a shoulder rig for. And again, for like sports broadcasts, you know, like news people, you see a lot of them kind of rocking that shoulder rig. They're kind of just like holding it in front of like their news stories and stuff. And then next thing we have here is a tripod and monopod technique. So if we start, I mean, we could also at the same time do all of those movements. And this is actually a really great example of using all of those things that we talked about. So even like trucking and dolly, you could do it with this because we have wheels, right? To kind of dolly in, dolly out, and then truck sideways if you really wanted. If it was like a special event or something, you could have these unlocked and kind of sweep around the building. But of course we have wires, so that's not really the easiest thing to do. And then in the same way, you could use the tripod to also do, again, what we talked about, the pedestal, so like moving up and down. And then one trick, or actually, let's go to a monopod. The same thing for a monopod. Basically, this is kind of like more, I think a lot of people use monopods for photos, but kind of a lot of video guys have been using it. I know I've been using it a lot for like weddings, just so I'm not using it handheld, so I have a little bit more stabilization. It does get like shakier because of course it's just like one long stick with like feet at the bottom, so it's not the most stable in comparison to a tripod. But you could kind of use this for a lot of stuff in terms of course, the basic movement of like panning and tilting. You have a regular video head here, so you could tilt up, pan, and then what you could do for a lot of this that I guess tripods is harder to do, you could also do it, but you could also use this to kind of like move in like this and also like move out like this, right? The same way you could do like sideways, but if it had a ball, if I had a video ball here that it could just stay on, I could also go sideways. So there's a little bit more maneuverability. You could maneuver it more. And you could also use this to stabilize. I've seen people use monopods as like a stabilization point for like moving. So they would attach the camera like this and hold it back, hold it upside down, and kind of like use it almost like a gimbal. So they would just make their movements kind of like this way. So they're not like holding it really low. You can kind of play around with it this way. So yeah, that's, I mean, for the most part, that's what you guys use, tripods. So that's, and you guys are pretty much pretty knowledgeable, I would say, for all of that stuff. You guys use it every week, so we're good there. And then the slider shot. So this one, we don't have a slider. I don't have a slider. I usually rent it. But this is for trucking and dolly movement, as we talked about. So moving the camera sideways and kind of front and back. And then we have that video, Dan, for long range that we could show. Kind of like,
sorry, you want me to fire that up?
Yeah. So this is a recent project that I did, and a lot of the shots were used. You'll see when it like kind of the camera flies in, that's with a gimbal, but this one is a slider shot. So I guess this is a good segue to sliders and gimbals.
Yeah. Unless that's the intention.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course with the limitations of cables, but you could do it. Like if we wanted to do like a quick. So this is with a gimbal. See, I have more kind of freedom with movements. This is just on a tripod. This is slider. This is a slider shot. Some sliders. This one is a gimbal. This one is a gimbal. This one is a slider shot. You could kind of tell when the camera is actually moving versus if it's just like a tilt up and down. This one's a slider again. And then these ones are all gimbal shots. And then you could see like I'm basically doing those movements, but I'm just using a gimbal for most of it, which is this guy right here. Cool. That's basically it. Thanks, Dan. But yeah, I know I've mentioned a lot of shots there are gimbal, but like I would say like half and half would be gimbal and half slider. But for gimbals, they're really convenient because here, let me actually turn it on. And then in terms of, I know you guys, if you guys have seen me around here on like Sundays, you see me kind of walking around with a gimbal. I wish I could show this actually on the feed, but basically I could do all of that movement as if it's handheld, but it's with this, and it just stabilizes it. Even if I try to shake it, like it kind of dampens it a little bit, so I could kind of like do all of that movement. I even have controls here to also do like a pan. Let me actually make it faster so that you can see it. Oh, that's not fast enough. Anyway, but yeah, you could do like a fast, or you could do a pan if I just wanted to stand there. And then I could also do like a tilt. Let me actually show you guys here so you can see. You can do tilt up and then tilt down. So it's pretty robotic, and like it's really smooth is what it is. And then I could do the dolly shot. So if I wanted to follow someone, I could do that, and it like keeps it pretty still. Could do sideways like a slider if I wanted to do that. I actually do that shot a lot where I use something and I would like reveal something. So I would use this to show something in the back there. And there's also like options here. These are great because there's options where it would literally lock like your pan. I believe this is a pan lock. So I can't, or no, that's not it. Which one is it? Oh, it locks the tilt. So this one doesn't let me like tilt up. So as much as I do anything, it's not going to tilt up or down, right? So even if I go like this, it's always going to be like shooting straight. So even if I go around like that, if I like run, I remember I did one where I was like literally chasing someone that's going like this. So that was pretty fun. If you watch a lot of sports now, the NFL, NBA, and I think some PGA broadcast, they actually use like a DSLR on a gimbal now. It's kind of like part of their like a special shot. And it's funny because like if you're familiar with like video games, they have those shots in the video games. So now it looks like the video game is in real life.
Reality is now a video game. Yeah.
Of like, let's say like a player, like they call a timeout, and then they like someone runs into the field or the court and they're like following someone. It's pretty cool. And that's like a DSLR in like a live national broadcast thing.
And I just want to show this too, that I can hand it to you, but
for like a phone.
Yeah, we see people using gimbals like this that are relatively inexpensive, and you can attach to like your drum shot phone that you've got there. You could put that on this gimbal and get those shots and do a wireless feed of that video into the system.
Yeah.
So it can do all those fun low shots and getting up close, the tight shots, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty good because I mean this one is more for like DSLR and bigger cameras, and then you can also get something smaller like this. I know DJI just released one. It's called the Osmo 3, where there's actually a camera already attached to this, and it's like this small, and it's like better quality than your phone. I would say like it's probably the same quality as this camera when it was released like 10 years ago, and it's like amazing. It's like if you're I don't know, a content creator, you just make stuff for like Instagram, social media. Like I think like that's the camera to get if you're doing video, because you could put it down like this and then talk on it. There probably has some AI functions where it would like follow wherever you go.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I'm almost done here. We could kind of go into others or like advanced or bigger productions kind of tools that they use. Of course. You guys see that there? So, of course, if we're going to go in terms of like camera angles, we'll do like extreme wides. I mean, you guys know that. Kind of like a wide shot, and like a medium shot. I mean, this is the tightest I could go. Sorry.
I'll do my best to pretend I can play.
I was like, ooh. I was like, Dan's playing some stuff for us. And then, of course, something tight. Oh, I can see it there. In terms of what did you want to go through, Dan? Like,
doing the movements of zoom and pan and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so let's actually start with the zoom. I mean, this is a manual zoom. Do the PTZs have a zoom? Is it pretty smooth or?
Yeah, it's fairly smooth. Yeah.
So one shot that I actually like doing, kind of like a more dramatic, like during worship that I would use is like something that would like slowly zoom in to like my subject. I mean, obviously it's a little like jaggy here. So this has like a faster zoom. So I would say like, if it was like, oh, like a good morning, everyone. And then someone's talking, like you could kind of do like, that's actually pretty fast for a slow zoom.
Yeah, it's adjustable.
But you could adjust it. Yeah, I was going to say. But like, let's say, for example, Dan was actually speaking from behind the keys. And
good morning, everyone.
He's saying good morning, and it would be like a really nice shot to kind of like slowly zoom into him. And then, how do you let go? Oh, when I operate a camera too, I really like it loose. But that's just a preference, just so I could have like more movements, like when it's zooming in like this.
Yeah, we've got those locked down, so the PTZ movement wasn't making it move.
So then when you kind of like zoom it in, I could kind of make sure that he's in the middle and tilt as I go.
Good morning, everyone.
There you go. Oh, this gets really zoomed in.
Oh yeah, it's a 30 times zoom.
30 times.
Those extreme close-ups are going to be a thing. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. And then you guys, so there you go. You guys
see my nose hairs there?
And then you guys could actually, these are fluid heads. So you could adjust this with like tensions, and the more tension it is, the smoother your movement is. So instead of like having it like jaggy like this, if you turn it, you could kind of play around with it. And then the more tension it is, you kind of get like a smoother like movement.
Yeah, it's not something that you're not allowed to touch. It's something you can kind of set it to how you like it, at least in this church. Talk to your technical director before you make those decisions.
So yeah, so it's kind of things like that, and you could kind of move around that way. And then in terms of tilt, again, there's also like tensions there. And then, yeah, so zoom, is this the widest? Yeah.
Yeah, that one's got a 60-degree field of view.
Yeah.
Not super wide.
So we can even
wide enough to catch side of stage to side of stage kind of thing.
So yeah. And then it looks like you guys have a faster and a slower zoom here. So of course, if you're just trying to get shot for shot, it'll be like, okay, drums, get a drum, and then you get
pull in that fast zoom to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then use that fast zoom to like, okay, keys. No.
Yep.
Get your blood flow running really fast on a Sunday morning. But yeah, I mean, of course you could do pedestal and some movements, but of course we have it locked here. So that's kind of like the movements and like shots that I would get. Like, let's say Dan walks around. Say Dan is a very pacey pastor.
I'm talking to you guys. And now you guys need to pay attention.
Yeah, so you got something like that moving in and out. And then, of course, it'll be the tighter you are, the harder it is, because obviously you're more zoomed in. Is this autofocus, Dan? Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's set to autofocus right now.
So then, of course, the more zoomed in you are, the more movement you'll have to do. And then, of course, it's harder because, like, if he starts to, like, move.
Fake out.
Yeah, you gotta fake it. It's harder, so.
They're saying, don't tell the pastor he can move.
So you could kind of like, have it there. Yeah. And so, that's kind of how I would move around with these cameras. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think while you're there, I'd like to, Nathan, don't change a thing. I think we should show kind of what the setup is over here. And guys, you can come on over and check it out.
Maybe we can have he's pointing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we have, for those online, from the back here, it's kind of hard to see from that shot, but we've got a preview monitor that is showing you the complete shot. And we can set up things like a grid on that, or things to help kind of frame shots. So you can, if you like to do things with like thirds and lining up the thirds, you can have a grid to see where those actually are.
Yeah.
Or if you have overscan on any of your cameras, you can set it up to show you what's actually going to go through the system. And so we've got a control of zoom specifically is the intention on the arm, but it actually has the full PTZ control if you wanted to use the PTZ controls. And what else have we got going on here?
Is this 360, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it won't keep spinning all the way around, but you have to double back.
Around.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know if you guys have that in picture if you can see the room, but it's a nice looking room.
You guys would be able to get some like worship
exactly.
shots too.
Yeah, without
of the congregation
spinning the whole thing around, you can do some shots behind.
Kind of sneaky, I like that. Instead of like people thinking like, there's a camera in front of you.
Yeah, you're clearly aiming the whole tripod at them. And then we've got an intercom system that all the camera operators are on intercom talking to each other and talking to the video director. And in this church, the booth is upstairs where the video director is. So that's really handy that you're not shouting across, you're not making weird hand signals or waving people down, trying to get them to do something. And and you can all kind of whisper and still be able to communicate even during sermon kind of thing.
Yeah.
And other than that, we've just got the video transport system, which is something we supply, but that's another piece of the puzzle. Getting video from here to your main system. And yeah, the other, for people online, if they're wondering, this is a confidence monitor right in front of the tripod. They've kind of snuck it here so they can, so the pastor and people on stage can see who's on Zoom, because they stream all their Sunday services. So they can actually see, oh, there's Shelley is online this morning or whoever, and see everybody's little Zoom window panes up on there. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and I should say these cameras are the PTZ Optics Move 4K cameras. So we have the 30 times here, and the 12 times is what would be on the tripod we've been using most of the seminar. Yeah, and we're doing something a little bit interesting with a hybrid of having them on the tripods.
Nice.
That, even the guys at PTZ Optics were kind of like, "What are you doing?
Putting on my
Why are you
tripod.
doing that?" Yeah, but yeah, for this kind of a solution, it works pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, are you all set with your stuff?
I think
Did
for
you
the
want to
most part.
show another video?
Oh yeah, we could show. We could show that one Porsche video. So this one is more advanced in terms of kind of like mounting and having a camera on. Well, these are like called rolling shots. So a lot of like car shots where we would have a second car having a camera following another car. So this was a really cool project that I was a part of. And yeah, and you'll kind of see some examples of handheld. I've mentioned, I think almost all of the shots here are handheld, other than the rolling shots. And of course, there's like some drone shots as well.
Cool.
So let's
Nathan, let me know when you're good with that. To put up the main feed video, the graphics feed, let's say.
And it was shot here in London, Ontario, which is
cool. You do a lot of work in London, right? All right, here we go.
So you see that shot is kind of like a tilt up as it swoops in. So that was a drone shot. So you can kind of see that there's a lot of like shaky movement. We have the GoPro mounted on the car. Got a shot of a drone there. These are the rolling shots. That specific shot was on the gimbal. I literally ran to chase the car. And yeah, for most of these were actually shot with that setup over there. So yeah, rolling shots. And yeah, that was the project, which was really cool to be a part of. The setup there was, we had a GoPro, I think it was a GoPro 9 at that time, that was the newest, mounted on the car for those shots. That's like, you could kind of see her driving from the outside. Because I don't have any mounts that would be able to handle a big camera rig on there. But for bigger productions, there are some rigs that they really put like, I don't know, a lot of different contact points of suction cups on the car. Of course, like sometimes if you're doing like a branded video, they don't want you like attaching things to the camera. So sometimes they let you. So then some people are like attaching stuff. But for us, it was just like a safe one suction cup. It was a GoPro super light right on the car. Use a lot of this for the handheld shots. And then for the rolling shots where you can see the car rolling, that was with an EOS SAR actually on a gimbal. So I was we were using a truck and we were just tied to the back of it and then would follow the car that way. So that's kind of like, I guess, a smaller budget production would do, because that's obviously what we did. But you'd be able to do like I think bigger productions even rent out cars that have cranes, like those really long, I don't know, it's called a crane, those long ones, and then the cameras attached. Like a boom one. And then they have a literal driver, they have someone controlling the camera, also controlling like manual focus and stuff, and then someone actually controlling the movement of the crane. So if they need it to go down, someone's controlling that, and then someone's also working on the camera. So there's a lot of moving parts there, and that's kind of like how people get that shot. And at the same time, those are just like fancy ways and more expensive ways of doing the trucking shots and the dolly shots. Like in Hollywood, like movies, they would literally build a track based on like where the shot is. So let's say they're moving from the back of this room through that door, walking up the stage, and they wanted a shot to be like through the chairs. So someone could, if they don't want someone holding it as like a gimbal or like handheld operator, they would literally put a track, and then someone's pulling the track, someone's on the camera, and that's how they would achieve that shot. So those are just some ways. I mean, it gets pretty creative if you get into like on-set stuff and productions. Like whatever works is whatever works, and it depends too on like the budget that you guys get. You kind of get like limitations of like, can we do that? Do we have the budget to do it? But yeah, that's basically it.
Thanks for joining us for this Tech Direction training session. A special thank you to our guest, Gio Benavidez, for sharing his professional insights, and to Word of His Power Church for hosting today's session. For more resources or to get in touch with our team about your specific projects, visit us at techdirection.com or email us at projects@techdirection.com. That's your tech, headed in the right direction. We'll see you next time.